We're back. Continue with this great conversation with the Chief. Chief, let's talk about police staffing. We have about 760 police officers in the force. I know you'd like to have more, but just talk to the question of the level of police staffing.
Yeah, we're very lean in the city. We have, you mentioned the number 760, we have an additional 40 officers that are about to graduate next month from the academy, which we're very thankful for. We'll put another class in next year, which will be another 40, which will basically keep us even with attrition. When you compare where we are in this city with other cities around the country, the departments back east tend to have a lot more officers per capita. New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston have about 4 to 4.5 officers per thousand population. DC, I think, has 7.5. When you look closer to us, LAPD, which is a very lean organization, has 2.5. The latest number I heard for us, we're down in the range of 1.4 right now, officers per thousand population. So we're very lean. That's why you'll see one officer cars out there responding to calls for service, which allows us to keep a very, very good response time. Our response time to calls for service, priority one calls for service, is in the neighborhood of 4.5 minutes. Great. Which is among the best in the nation for big cities. So we're very proud of that, but to be able to do that, we sacrifice on the officer safety side to some degree, that we have one officer cars rather than two in areas that I think should have two.
And having the staffing levels that you do requires quite a bit of overtime for the existing force that you'd prefer not to have to do.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we have officers in a situation now, and civilian employees, particularly in our lab and our record sections, that are working hours that they don't ask to work, but we need them to work so they can get the job done. We're doing a very complex job with relatively few people. So in order to be able to keep the standards where they are, in order to be able to keep the productivity levels to where we need them and meet the public's expectations, we're working our people very hard.
So you would like to see more police officers, more boots on the ground, with a bigger budget from the city council?
Oh, absolutely. I look at where we are with the stats that we just talked about a little bit ago, and we're in great shape when you think we're at 40-year plus lows in violent crime. But I think if we had more officers out there, our ability to drive that down even further and make this city even safer is certainly an opportunity that we'd like to avail ourselves to.
We were both at a wonderful function recently dedicating the governor, George Deukmejian, a beautiful new courthouse, yeah. And the governor spoke, and very movingly, as did many others, but the governor made the point that throughout his career, he always viewed the prime role of government to be public safety.
Yeah, no, I thought that was very profound, and when you think about it, if you don't have public safety, if you don't feel you can send your kids to school and they'll walk to school or get there however they do in a safe manner, they can return home safely, and we make assumptions that, going to and from wherever we're going, that we should be able to do it with that assumption being true. I think that's at the core of all we do. We have parks, we have museums, we have so many beautiful things, but the bottom line is you need to feel safe to be able to go there, and that's what we try and provide as best we can.
And business doesn't want to relocate to a city that's not viewed as safe.
No, absolutely. I think that's the core of all we do, for our family, whether it's relocating a business, moving a family into a city, the schools everybody looks at, and certainly public safety.
A major economic generator of our community is the Port of Long Beach, and the port has its own security force, but the Long Beach Police Department supplements that with some of your officers.
That's correct. Yeah, the Harbor Department has a security operation. We work very closely with them, more closely in recent years than previously, and we have a good team that's working very hard to try and make the port as safe as we can possibly make it.
Would it make any sense to consider the police department taking over the entire security operation of the port, so it's an integrated unit rather than two forces working side by side, no matter how closely?
I would certainly like the city to look at that. I think that if you had a single chain of command, we could be more effective. I look at us on the Long Beach side, comparing us with the LA side. LA has a police department dedicated to policing the port. I would like to see us have a bureau within the police department to be able to provide that function, where that's their sole mission, is the protection of the port. When you look at all of the entities that have a hand in protecting the port of LA, Long Beach, on the LA side, you have the Port Police, you have the Los Angeles Police Department, you have the Los Angeles Fire Department. On the Long Beach side, we have the Harbor Department, the Long Beach Police Department, the Long Beach Fire Department. You have the county sheriffs that weigh in on certain aspects of port security. And then on the federal side, we have the Coast Guard as the captain of the port, kind of runs what happens on the water. You have the Customs and Border Protection, you have the FBI for drug investigations, you have the DEA. For agriculture, you have the Department of Agriculture, and there are many, many more that all have a role in maintaining the safety and security of the port.
Well, it's something to look at then.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Let's talk about technology for a moment. I know that you've been a big advocate of policing smart, particularly with the cutbacks at police staffing levels. Right. And some of the developments in the technology field.
Yeah, we've tried as best we can, primarily through grant funding, to be able to get technology that will help leverage the number of people we have doing the job to make us more efficient and ultimately more effective. And we've had some success with that. We've talked about before automated license plate readers. They're a big help to us. Cameras, certainly we have cameras as many places in the public space that we can. Our ability to take those cameras and be able to tap into them over the web has been a tremendous cost savings. It has allowed us to be able to view incidents that otherwise we couldn't have. From a standpoint of viewing something that's already occurred to go back for investigation and prosecution, what a tremendous tool that has been for us. And it saves tremendous costs, court costs as well, because if you have somebody committing a crime on video, you don't need a trial. I mean, oftentimes they'll cop out to the charge, yeah, and you don't end up with the cost of a lengthy trial. You know, you'll end up getting some sort of a plea bargain, but the case is adjudicated for much less cost and time than it would otherwise be.
And I know you've encouraged private businesses to hook their systems in under the COP system, Common Operating Picture.
Right. We have this this program, we call it LB COP, Long Beach Common Operating Picture. And what it's allowed is for us in our communications center, which is a very nice one over at Spring and Redondo, to be able to bring in camera feeds from the public sector as well as the private sector for those that sign up for our program. They'll have an internet-based protocol where we have access, with their permission, to their cameras. We have the potential to take over their cameras if it's pan, tilt, zoom, move it around to where we need to see what we need to see. And so when a call comes into communications and somebody says, I'm at 123 Main Street, the dispatchers can pull up a camera for that location, right, and be able to tell officers en route what they're going to run into when they get there, as well as if the camera is able to catch the crime in progress, to be able to use that again, nice, for apprehension and prosecution.
So if you have a private business with a security system and you want to link at no cost to you with the COP system, call the number we're going to put up right at the end of this segment. We'll be continuing with more with the Chief after these messages.
How do you like your chances the rest of the way?
I got no idea. But I do know that if we stay with Naples Rib Company, at least we won't go hungry.
Coach, what do you think about some of those questionable calls tonight?
Yeah, but if you want a sound call, I'd call Naples Rib Company. You can't miss on that call.
Then Naples Rib Company is part of your game plan?
There really is nothing more motivating than a great barbecue meal at Naples Rib Company.
Victory or not, Naples Rib Company, great game plan.
Founded in 1976, Paulies Gourmet Coffee is Southern California's most complete gourmet coffee store. Paulies has the best tasting coffee, freshly roasted every day right in the store, plus a wide selection of teas, an in-house bakery, espresso bar, patio dining, and more. We also offer Wi-Fi, free internet access for all of our customers. Our nationwide clientele agree when it comes to coffee, there's only one name to remember, Paulies, 4606 East 2nd Street, welcoming you into Belmont Shore.
When I was a boy growing up in Italy, I had a dream to own my own store. I came to the United States and I worked hard as a tailor. Hi, I'm Umberto. I've been in Long Beach since 1960, carrying the finest quality men's clothing. Italy's a long way away, but styles are just around the corner. Umberto, 2141 Bellflower, Long Beach.
Who needs this modern world? I can live just fine out here without the road rage and boy bands. Of course, I might miss my Charter HD with football on ESPN and Walking Dead on AMC. ESPN and AMC. And, well, Shark Week on Discovery HD. But that's all. AMC, ESPN, Discovery, TBS, and Comedy Central HD. But that's it. Except for HBO HD.
Charter now has over 100 HD channels and more brilliant HD shows on demand than ever.